bothers me about the critiques I get is that they don't acknowledge the points I myself made.
Fair enough.
Look, at the end of the day, Bill Maher is always going to Bill Maher. Meanwhile, the great Larry David, who has mocked this very movement in his show, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Obviously, a big part of this show is the MAGA hat.
For the first show, yeah.
Right. There are people that wear the MAGA hat and like what the MAGA hat represents. Are you afraid about alienating them? They could be fans of the show.
Alienate yourselves. Yeah. Go and alienate. You have my blessing. No, I could give a
would speak his piece after Maher wined and dined with UFC CEO Dana White, Kid Rock, who somehow still was called Kid at 54 years old, and Donald Trump.
Oh, I mean, you can't go a day without thinking about what he's done to this country, because he's such a little baby that he's thrown 250 years of democracy out the window by not accepting the results of an... I mean, it's so crazy. He's such a sociopath. He's so insane. He just couldn't admit to losing. And we know he lost. He knows he lost. And look how he's fooled everybody. He's convinced all these people that he didn't lose. He's such a sick man. He's so sick. Anyway, no, it hasn't impacted me at all.
David unloaded on Maher, and he did it with an op-ed. I hope he doesn't get deported for writing such a thing. He titled it, "My Dinner with Adolf." David paints the picture well. It was spring of 1939, and a letter came to his doorstep from the world's most reviled man, Adolf Hitler. He details his critiques and how he was not encouraged by a soul to attend. He writes, "I knew I couldn't change his views, but we need to talk to the other side, even if it has invaded and annexed other countries and committed unspeakable crimes against humanity." Before continuing, keep this in mind. Maher, on his show, which is still airing on HBO, quipped to his loyalists in the seats, "I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around Donald Trump. I would never feel comfortable talking to Obama or Clinton the way I was able to talk with Trump. That's just how it went down. Make of it what you will. Me, I feel it's emblematic of why the Democrats are so unpopular these days." Back to David. "Hitler gave me an enthusiastic greeting that caught me off guard. Frankly, it was a warmer greeting than I normally get from my parents, and it was accompanied by a slap on my back. I found the whole thing quite disarming." David also took a dig.
The president is so nattily attired normally that I think it was shocking to a lot of people.
The conservative hoopla over this piece of clothing.
What's upsetting is that it just showed him relaxed. It just showed him that he was on vacation. People are dying.
So it reinforced the wrong image then.
Oh, it was a nightmare. And only the Democrats and only liberals could actually elect a guy with a tan suit.
When Nixon and Kennedy debated, Nixon wore a tan suit, and that didn't bode well for him, did it? It wasn't a suit of strength.
Thus, David penned, "I joked that I was surprised to see him in a tan suit because if he wore that out, it would be perceived as un-Fuhrer-like. That amused him to no end, and I realized I'd never seen him laugh before. Suddenly, he seemed so human." Remember this line from Maher as well? "Just for starters, he laughs. I've never seen him laugh in public," Maher stated to his live audience. But he does, including at himself. And it's not fake, believe me. As a comedian of 40 years, I know a fake laugh when I hear it, and I thank you for them. David chided Maher for remarking he had never seen Hitler laugh before, and thus witnessing it humanized him. Reading this piece is another example of how brilliant David is as a writer and why he has had such a successful career. The comedian would add in this write-up that the Big H would ask tons of inquisitive questions, including about David's recent breakup with a girlfriend. David typed that the woman he was no longer with remained insistent. He'd tell everything at all times that was discussed. When he mentioned he doesn't like having to remember every intricate detail of every convo he had, Hitler related to it. What am I, a secretary, he questioned? In his monologue, Maher read from the teleprompter, everything I've ever not liked about him, as in Trump, was, I swear to God, absent on this night with this guy. I know, your mind is blown, so is mine. Thus, David fired back, that it must be rather easy to be a dictator, which Hitler denied. They got along great in this meeting, with David even printing, "We're not that different, after all. I thought that if only the world could see this side of him, people might have a completely different opinion." David would pen his goodbyes to the Fuhrer, giving him thanks and stating that although they disagree on the issues, it simply should not mean one hates the other. He concludes, and with that I gave him a Nazi salute and walked out into the night. We have covered Bill Maher in the past. If you want to see some of those clips, check it out on demand. We go over his history of bigotry, his Islamophobia, how he got completely wrecked on his previous show, which was on the network ABC. I believe it was called Politically Incorrect, by Boots Riley, activist, director, etc. And how really none of us who are leftists are surprised at all by any of this. I think what's rather jarring, it's the reaction from centrists who are up in arms about this and shocked. Not shocked. If you followed any part of this guy's show for as long as he has been on television, this is who he is.
Max Winter says, a black actor playing the Little Mermaid really is a case of white erasure. All forms of art, including fairy tales, are meant to be reflections of the author's experiences and observations. Hans Christian Andersen probably based the Little Mermaid based on experiences he went through in his home country of Denmark, so it makes sense that most of his characters would be white, since that's the world and the people he was surrounded by. Yeah, I'm given the way that we deal with these sorts of issues, I'm sympathetic to that. Now, I would be fine, like we talked about yesterday. We don't have to rehash the entire thing, but if we all agreed that race in films and TV shows, especially fictional stories, don't matter, and we're going to take a kind of colorblind casting approach, and it doesn't matter as long as the actor is good. If we could all agree on that, then I'd be on board. Also, by the way, with The Little Mermaid, can we also just mention that just from a scientific perspective, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have someone with darker skin who lives deep in the ocean. I mean, if anything, not only should The Little Mermaid be pale, she should actually be translucent. If you look at deep sea creatures, they're like translucent. They have no kind of pigmentation whatsoever. And they're just like these horrifying, they look like skeletons floating around in the ocean. That's what the Little Mermaid should look like. She should be totally pale and skeletal, where you can see her skull through her face. And that would actually be a version of Little Mermaid that I would watch.
This is the Daily Wire's Matt Walsh, a Christian nationalist who spouts Nazi rhetoric on his social media platforms.
Like, now there's a lot of race-swapped characters. People get so mad about how many characters we got that are black. People see a black Little Mermaid and they get mad. They're like, that's not my Ariel. And I'm like, I was mad for a whole myriad of reasons. First of all, a black Little Mermaid, she wouldn't be in the water. Just swimming about looking for a crab without boiling the mother. Not once throughout that movie did I see Ariel do this. That's not representation. I don't need that shit.
And that is stand-up comic Troy Bond, who ethers folks like this on the daily.
Interesting boots he's been awkwardly strutting around in. The internet has become obsessed with these mystery boots and the theory they might contain lifts in the heel to make Ron look taller. Shoe experts have weighed in on the weirdly long Sideshow Bob-style toe box situation that maybe is because there aren't any toes in there. Maybe because the foot is back up on a stilt in the back, like stiletto high heels inside his manly man cowboy boots. It's all speculation, of course, not the type of thing anyone is seriously focused on.
What they're trying to say with this is that in your boots, you have heels. No. That's what they're...
Then there's MAGA Governor Ron DeSantis, who is in Bond's sights.
You guys got a gay governor down here. I don't know if you know that, but Ron DeSantis, that's a very gay dude. And you can tell One, look at his boots. That's Slay Queen. Look at that shit. Ronald. That's a gay dude. He passed a lot of anti-gay legislation. You gotta be pretty gay if you think about dudes like that. Be like, we're gonna ban gay literature. They can't read it. The pages are stuck together. Nobody turns gay from reading a book. Just being like, yeah, I like cock and balls now. Thank you, Dewey Decimal System. Ron DeSantis was like, we're banning gay people. We're gonna ban books that have gay people in it, and we're not gonna air RuPaul's Drag Race. Yeah, I know there's some gay men here with their wives tonight. Thank you for coming.
Bond calls out DeSantis' anti-gay rhetoric by simply going through the receipts on the governor. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
The manosphere is made up of macho podcasters and influencers.
There's no such thing as an independent female. Most women have zero concept of like money.
Females don't have independent thought.
I know this is a serious topic, but Troy Bond is going to give another perspective.
But I was thinking about like who was the leader of misguided young dudes, and there's like sort of a crisis with people in our generation, and it makes young men the problem because people in our generation are we don't have money, we're not buying homes, we don't have the college to house to kid pipeline that we used to anymore, and society was sort of built around your worth is equated to how many kids and how much money you have and your income every year. And if you don't have any of that by the end of the year, it's that comparison thing again where like you're sitting in your studio apartment chasing a dream that like nobody you know would ever chase. But then when you go home, like, what do you have? Nothing. And then you're looking at, I mean, like, in comparison, you're sitting in a cold apartment. I'm saying this for both of us. You have more nothing than I do. But we all have nothing. And we're just going on Instagram and we're seeing people have kids and a dog and they get a second dog and then they get a cat and you kind of hope one of the dogs kill the cats because they just have too much. And I'm just sitting here eating SpaghettiOs out of a can. And like, I have money. I'm just eating them because I'm punishing myself for life choices. And I'm going, wow, I really have nothing. And those people who have a wife and kids and addiction to Oxycontin are like, I have nothing. And they're watching our clips and be like, I wish I could do what you do one day, man.
To be honest, what I also see is not just how algorithms infect our daily lives, but in the same vein, how the manosphere exploits all of these feelings.
Our mission and values are focused on helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone.
All of this is deeply troubling for corporations worried about the security of their top executives.
Right, Wolf, and the security posture for top corporations has changed dramatically since the shooting. And that's happening at the same time that support for the suspect has grown so much that it's translated into marketing opportunities.
And on this front,
I usually say it's good to see you, but I can't see nobody down here. We're in a basement and we're like, cool, we're safe. I guess when you live in this country, your odds are like getting shot. Remember when Luigi did us a service? And for months, don't clap, allegedly. And for months, everybody was like, it's not right. That guy got shot going to work. In this country, you don't get shot going to work. You get shot at movies and schools. But never going to work. Someone's got to work.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to, okay? It's true. It's true. Look at what's happening.
it was always a front.
Jackie Robinson was known for many things, but above all, first and foremost, it was his ongoing courage in the face of racial discrimination. In fact, in addition to crossing the color barrier in baseball, he served in a segregated unit in the Army and in one instance refused to move to the back of the bus, was arrested and acquitted. That matters. That history cannot be erased, it cannot be undone, and it must be recognized to fully understand and celebrate his legacy.
Thanks, Mina.
And they used it to take down heroes like Jackie Robinson. ESPN's Mina Kimes, meanwhile, has had enough.
She's asking for a promotion now, and she's failed at everything she's done. I'm sure you saw the ad she ran saying that she would fix the border. It maybe is the most dishonest ad any politician's ever run. I think you're going to kill it with young kids, college kids, in a way that you haven't before. When you came down the staircase 2015, you said your primary campaign was about people coming across the border and the fact that they were sending dangerous criminals. You know who hasn't covered it? New York Times, CBS, Washington Post, all the people who criticized you.
Then there's the MAGA media sphere with this guy, Clay Travis, doing the bidding.
Here's the reality. Tommy's right. It's not just race, though. It's also sexuality. Caitlin Clark is a white heterosexual woman in a black lesbian league, and they resent and are jealous of all of the attention and the shoe deal that she got.
Who says whack stuff like this to pander. What's been rather consistent is the string of attacks led by Travis and trickled down by his minions at his website Outkick, which he sold to Rupert Murdoch for what he stated is $100 million. And those attacks centering, of course, on Kimes. Here's just one example. She responded to Clay Travis writing, I want to add, I don't see myself as a victim at all. Weird stuff comes with the job, and my job is a dream. I get to talk about football with my friends on television. Meanwhile, Clay Travis will go back to sweatily peddling inflammatory BS for his audience. She'd also write, you think you're blackballed because of your politics? But that's not true. There are plenty of people with different views in our industry. The reason no one normal talks to you anymore is because you're a cruel, cynical bully who mines bigotry for clicks. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
It begs the question, top 5 nips.
Oh, yes. That's a great one.
Because Dr. McGillicuddy's, I think, is number 1 or 2. Screwball also up there.
I'd probably go Mina Kimes.
She has been targeted by Chris Curtis at WEEI, which led to this.
I think she has a right to have this level of confidence. I think she's got ESPN by the balls. I think they're paying her nearly $2 million. She's DEI. She feels like she's got the wind at her back. She's been put in a position she hasn't earned. She's there for DEI.
The doofus himself, Jason Whitlock. He would tweet that he was unaware of a racial slur and added, tell me how Mina Kimes' life was impacted by this. Other than nailing herself to a cross, I don't see the damage. She will dance to rap music, calling black people N-words repeatedly without uttering a complaint. No idea what he's talking about. Kimes fired back, nailing myself to a cross? I made one joke and went back to work because unlike you, I still talk about sports for a living. Have a great day.
I'm 48 hours in, and I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended in his podcasts and, on the phone to me. And I'm going to have the best immunity possible now. I'm thankful for people like Joe stepping up and using their voice.
Then there's free agent quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
I'm 48 hours in, and I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended in his podcasts and, on the phone to me. And I'm going to have the best immunity possible now. I'm thankful for people like Joe stepping up and using their voice.
Then there's free agent quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
It really drove home what is at stake, or like what is the meaningful thing about this story that transcends sports, which is the sort of normalization of conspiracy theories. And I say that not to criticize Rodgers' character or whatever, but really just to kind of criticize the substance of what he was saying, to criticize the sources he was throwing out. I mean, the names that he was bringing up. I don't know, Alex Berenson, for example, the former journalist. So he said his name. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's a guy who's been consistently wrong, proven wrong about vaccines and their efficacy and their danger. He has been misleading in how he has used studies. I'm sure some of the same studies that Rodgers has read. The authors of those studies have refuted him. You could ask any credible scientist, doctor, public health expert, and they would refute him. But when I was watching Rodgers and he said his name, I wasn't surprised to hear it, because the people who believe the things that I think Rodgers now believes, they always cite the same people. You know, it really is groupthink kind of masquerading as independent thought. And it's not just on the fringes of society. I think, as evidenced by the fact, obviously, that one of our most famous athletes is now believing some of these things. But I think a lot of us have people in our lives who have gone down similar I know I do, rabbit holes, who are sort of tempted by the idea of feeling like they know something that the rest of us don't, who, when they're met with skepticism or criticism, as Rodgers was, and I think this is at the heart of a lot of this, they double down. They're still having these debates while the rest of the world has moved on. And I feel like, you know, the fact that that's not just on the fringes is worth noting, and it's worth always checking those points when they're made and not just laughing them off the way we so often do. Because, you know, I understand that there's this inside baseball media aspects of the story that are interesting to you and others, and there's the rhetoric battle. But to me, like, when I was watching that, what I felt was at stake was none of that. It's this ongoing devaluation of facts and expertise,
which Kimes rightfully and thoughtfully put into a more clear perspective for anyone willing to listen.
So this broad Mina, who's a joke. Anyway, her and Stephen A got together, no hairline, and they've come to an agreement that Jimmy G is not good, but the Niners win with him. But you're trying to disprove the fact that he wins football games. I don't understand you. Shut up. You sound like a mockery.
Then there was this has-been who, per reports, was fired from his position for sending a text to a football player saying, and I quote, "I am your Hitler." That man is Jason Brown. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day. Calling out elite people in comedy should be the rule of thumb.
I think Donald Trump's hair is actually another creature.
Yeah.
The hair's like going, "Good night, Donald. Good night, Donald." There we go.
Maybe it goes out. It goes out and makes money while he's asleep.
There is something about punching down that feels taboo, and punching up is the way to go.
Crack's not really my thing, but if it was, it would be fine if I was on that side.
Wow.
Don Jr.'s on coke.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. I'm a very stable genius.
It is very important, the work that the Jordan Kleppers are doing, the work that the Good Liars are doing, the work that our team here at the Turks are doing, and many more.
Used to see these tackles, now they tackle. Oh, head-on-head collision. Bing, flag. Football's become soft.
You have Trump doing sound effects for tackles. The choice could not be more clear. Like, let's not beat around the bush about it.